Florida State University shooting. What we know so far. Breaking news out of Florida State University. A shooting reported just minutes ago. Authorities are on the scene. Reports say multiple 911 calls came in about an active shooter. The suspect was confronted by police shortly after. Witnesses describe panic as students fled the area. Some barricaded themselves in classrooms. Officers engaged the suspect within minutes. Shots were fired, and the suspect was neutralized. The campus was placed on immediate lockdown. Alerts warned students to seek shelter. Early reports suggest no other casualties, but investigations are ongoing. The suspect's identity and motive remain unknown. Authorities are urging anyone with information to come forward. Parents and students are shaken, but relieved the situation was contained quickly. University officials say counseling services will be available for those affected. This is a developing story. Stay tuned for updates as we learn more. Iran and U.S. nuclear talks. What happened in Rome? Breaking news: Iran and the U.S. have moved to expert-level talks after negotiations in Rome. What does this mean for global security? The talks mark a significant step after months of stalled negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. Both sides described the Rome meetings as productive, but major disagreements remain. The U.S. wants Iran to limit uranium enrichment, while Tehran seeks sanctions relief. Expert-level talks will now focus on technical details, the most complex part of negotiations. Why does this matter? A deal could prevent nuclear proliferation in the Middle East, but failure could lead to renewed tensions and possible military action. The international community is watching closely, with Israel and Gulf states particularly concerned. What's next? The expert talks could take weeks before any breakthrough is announced. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story. Like and subscribe for updates. Putin's Easter truce. Can Ukraine trust Russia? Breaking down the BBC report. Putin declares an Easter truce, but Ukraine remains skeptical. What's really going on? The BBC reports that Ukraine has outright rejected Putin's truce, calling it untrustworthy. This isn't the first time Russia has proposed a ceasefire. Let's look at past attempts. Experts weigh in. Is this a genuine peace effort, or a tactical move by Putin? The timing is suspicious. Why announce a truce during Easter? Here's what we know. Ukrainian intelligence suggests Russia may be regrouping forces during the proposed truce. How are civilians reacting? We hear from people on both sides of the conflict. The international community is divided. Some call for giving peace a chance, others warn against it. Military analysts break down what a real ceasefire would require from both sides. What's next? We explore possible scenarios if the truce holds or if it collapses. The stakes couldn't be higher. Millions of lives hang in the balance this Easter. Stay updated on this developing story. Like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. Trump officials admit mistake in Harvard confrontation. What really happened? A controversial confrontation between Trump officials and Harvard exploded online. But now, they're calling it a mistake. Let's break it down. The New York Times reports that Trump administration officials clashed with Harvard over a now debunked claim. Tensions were high. At the center of the dispute, a misinterpreted policy that led to accusations against the university. Details were murky from the start. Sources say a bureaucratic error sparked the feud. Officials later admitted they got key facts wrong. Harvard initially pushed back hard, calling the allegations baseless. Now, it seems they were right. Why did it take so long for officials to correct the record? Critics say politics played a role. This isn't the first time Trump's team has walked back claims. Some see a troubling pattern. Meanwhile, Harvard is moving forward, but the incident has left a mark on its reputation. Could this impact future relations between the government and academia? Experts warn of lasting damage. So, what's the lesson here? Double check before you accuse, especially when reputations are on the line. Trump's tattoo theory. Does MS-13 gang ink prove anything? Experts weigh in. Donald Trump has reignited controversy by claiming tattoos can identify MS-13 gang members. But is there any truth to this? MS-13, a violent transnational gang, is known for tattoos. But experts argue Trump's theory oversimplifies a complex issue. Trump recently doubled down, saying tattoos like MS-13 or demonic imagery are clear gang markers. But criminologists disagree. Gang experts say, while some members do tattoo identifiers, many don't. Tattoos alone can't prove gang affiliation. Law enforcement sources reveal tattoo evidence is just one piece of the puzzle. Behavior and crimes matter more. Civil rights groups warn against profiling based on tattoos. Innocent people could be wrongly targeted. MS-13's actual tattoos are often hidden. Visible ones might just be cultural or personal expressions. Politicians, using tattoo theories, may be oversimplifying gang violence for political gain. Experts agree, combating MS-13 requires intelligence, not just tattoo hunts. What do you think? Comment below! Supreme Court holds Venezuelan migrant deportations. What you need to know. The U.S. Supreme Court has temporarily blocked deportations of Venezuelan migrants under a wartime law. This is a major development in immigration policy. The ruling comes as thousands of Venezuelans seek asylum in the U.S., fleeing economic and political crisis in their home country. The Biden administration had been using a WWI-era law to fast-track deportations. But the Supreme Court has now put that on hold. This temporary block gives hope to many Venezuelan families who feared immediate deportation. But what does it really mean? Legal experts say this could be a turning point in how wartime powers are applied to modern immigration cases. The ruling doesn't mean deportations are canceled permanently. It just pauses them while lower courts review the case. Opponents argue this could encourage more border crossings. Supporters say it protects vulnerable people fleeing danger. This decision comes as border states face increasing pressure from migrant arrivals. The political debate is heating up. The Supreme Court's temporary block could last months. During this time, Venezuelan migrants may apply for other protections. What happens next? We break down the possible outcomes and what this means for U.S. immigration policy moving forward. One thing's clear. This ruling will have major implications for thousands of Venezuelan families and U.S. border policy. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Van Hollen vs. Trump. The battle over Abrego Garcia explained. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the heated political showdown between Senator Chris Van Hollen and former President Donald Trump over Abrego Garcia. The controversy centers around Abrego Garcia, a key figure in immigration policy, sparking fierce debates in Washington. Van Hollen claims Trump's policies unfairly targeted Garcia, while Trump defends his stance as necessary for national security. Trump fired back on social media, calling Van Hollen's accusations baseless and politically motivated. The Hill reports that this clash could influence upcoming immigration reform discussions in Congress. Supporters of Garcia argue his case highlights flaws in the immigration system, while critics say he exploited loopholes. Van Hollen is pushing for a congressional hearing to address Garcia's treatment. But Republicans are resisting. Political analysts say this feud could galvanize voters on both sides ahead of the next election. Meanwhile, Garcia's legal team is preparing to challenge the decisions made under Trump's administration. The debate raises bigger questions about immigration justice and executive power in the U.S. So what's next? Will Van Hollen succeed in his fight, or will Trump's legacy hold strong? One thing's clear, this battle is far from over. Stay tuned for updates, and don't forget to like and subscribe!